Let's start the recording also. Okay. So, the life of Sri Aurobindo. Uh, I'm sure you must have seen his pictures and you must have heard about Sri Aurobindo and his philosophy. In Pondicherry, there is a big ashram of Sri Aurobindo. It still exists and is very popular among the practitioners of yoga and also among the foreign tourists. बहुत
Ma'am,
सारे जो
he paid a great contribution in Indian national movement also.
Yes, he made a great contribution in Indian national movement also. And later on, अभी हम उनके जब लाइफ के बारे में पढ़ेंगे, then we will read that while he was imprisoned, he started thinking about his life while he was in prison. He started thinking about his life, and he, from that point onwards, became more spiritual and dedicated himself to um, his spiritual well-being. उसके बाद ही उन्होंने जो है ये पौंडीचेरी में अपना आश्रम भी स्टैब्लिश किया था. Aurobindo Ghosh is a well-known international and notable name among the famous personalities of India. He is also renowned for his great national and spiritual leadership. His participation in India's freedom fight was compact yet impactful. Aurobindo Ghosh fought using his exceptional writings that made an impact on people that enlightened them to participate in independence. His life revolves around how he started promoting independence and evolved to become a yogic guru. Okay, so you will find that the life journey of Sri Aurobindo is very interesting. Interesting in the sense that um, he he kept on evolving himself from being uh, a writer, from being a political analyst, and to a great um, practitioner of yoga and also a spiritual thinker. है ना कैसे कैसे जो है step by step he rose from being a simple and ordinary person to such a renowned spiritual leader. And also he has written a lot of writings that include not only the political writings जो कि आप पढ़ोगे, and also he has written a lot of spiritual writings, but along with that he has also dabbled into fiction. He has also dabbled into drama. उन्होंने fiction भी लिखा है, उन्होंने drama भी लिखा है. He has a mass of political writings जो कि essay के form में है, और जो उनकी स्पिरिचुअलिज्म वाली बुक्स हैं वो तो everybody is aware with his spiritual works. Okay, so you'll find a lot of variety in his writings as in his life. Aurobindo Ghosh, he was born in Calcutta in 1872. When he was 7, his parents sent him to UK for his studies. There he studied at St. Paul's School, London, and at King's College, Cambridge. So you can see that has he had a very good educational background because he belonged to a well-off family. जो उनका फाइनेंशियल बैकग्राउंड था वो कैसा था, बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग था. तो बचपन से ही क्या उनको क्या मिला, अच्छी एजुकेशन मिली. ही वाज सेंट टू लंदन फॉर हिज स्कूलिंग एंड आल्सो फ्रॉम हिज कैम्ब्रिज ही परस्यूड हिज हायर एजुकेशन. When he returned to India, he had already established excellence that brought various accomplishments. In India, he worked as a civil servant under the Maharaja of the princely state of Baroda. So, जो आप IAS के नाम से जानते हो आप, है ना, तो ये जो सिविल सर्विसेज थी उसमें इनिशियली जो ब्रिटिश एरा में होती थी, Sri Aurobindo he started his career as a civil servant, where in the princely state of Baroda. Even though Aurobindo Ghosh was involved in politics initially, he went on and demanded complete freedom from the British government. So he was one of the He was one of the pioneers in pursuing self independence for India or full freedom for India. आपने जब हिस्ट्री पढ़ी होगी तो आपने देखा होगा कि कैसे कांग्रेस ने अपनी डिमांड धीरे धीरे जो है पहले वो विद इन इंडिपेंडेंस विद इन ब्रिटिश रेंज चाहते थे और कैसे धीरे धीरे जाके जो है इवॉल्व होके तब हमारी डिमांड क्या आई, वी वांट फुल इंडिपेंडेंस. But from the beginning, Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, he was very clear that he does not want self-rule. He does not want India to be subservient to British people. He want India, he want full independence, full freedom from India from the beginning. He wrote various articles for Indu Prakash while he was in the services of the Baroda administration. This helped to get in touch with major resistance groups in Madhya Pradesh. When Bengal got separated in 1906, he moved to Kolkata. Although he supported non-cooperative resistance, he was a member of revolutionary groups in secret. It helped in creating a revolutionary atmosphere in the country. Aurobindo Ghosh played his role in the Indian freedom struggle by getting in touch with young revolutionaries. He also took part in the Indian National Congress annual session, where he showed his support for four objectives of the national government: Swaraj, Swadesh, boycott, and national education. In 1907, Aurobindo started his newspaper Bande Mataram. After the split in Congress between moderates and extremists, he supported Bal Gangadhar Tilak, who was among the extremists. Then he traveled among people in Bombay to educate people and gain their support. So you can see that initially he was very active in political field also. He attended Congress sessions, and also when there was a split between extremists and moderates, उन्होंने किसको join किया या किसको support किया? He supported the extremists. So he had this revolutionary bent of mind. He was never a moderate from the beginning. From jail to divinity. In the year 1908, Aurobindo Ghosh was arrested by the police but got released the following year. Even after being in jail, he did not stop writing and continued to make people aware of their independence. After coming out of jail, he began his new publications, Dharm and Karm Yogni, in 1909. It is essential to note that when he was in jail, he realized something that helped him in turning towards yoga and internal awakening. Since then, he started focusing more on the spiritual awakening through philosophical and mystical ways. After the life-turning realization, Aurobindo Ghosh secretly moved to Pondicherry, a former French colony, to begin his new life, where he started a new path of spirituality and learned human evolution through integral yoga. So, as I was telling you, in 1908, what happened? He was arrested, and for almost a year, he was in jail. When he was in prison, he got the time to think about his life and what he wants from his future. And there he realized that he has inclination more towards spirituality and yoga rather than to become a political activist. ठीक है, जब वो जेल में थे तो उन्होंने क्या रियलाइज किया कि वो उनका जो इंक्लिनेशन है या जो वो अपनी लाइफ से चाहते हैं, वो क्या चाहते हैं कि वो अपनी लाइफ डेडिकेट कर दें किसके लिए? स्पिरिचुअलिज्म के लिए, योग के लिए, ना कि वो पॉलिटिकल लाइफ में ज़्यादा involved हूँ political strife में. ठीक है, so once he came out of prison in 1909, he extracted himself from the political revolution that was going on in India, और वो चुपचाप कहाँ जाके सेटल हो गए? पौंडीचेरी. उसके बाद उन्होंने कोई भी पॉलिटिकल रोल, बहुत एक्टिव पॉलिटिकल रोल जो है उन्होंने नेशनल फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल में नहीं किया. After his spiritual realization experiences, Aurobindo Ghosh became more focused on developing this idea and promoting it among people. He claimed to hear voices of Vivekanand asking him to begin on the path of spiritualism. In Pondicherry, he dedicated his time and energy to spiritual and philosophical quests. He started Arya, a monthly magazine, including his philosophy in 1914. Now, slowly people started realizing the ideas of Aurobindo and started becoming his followers. The numbers kept on increasing, which led to the formation of Sri Aurobindo Ashram in 1926. ठीक है, तो वो 1914 सॉरी वो 19 नॉट बाद के 19 नॉट 9 में जो है वो क्या उन्होंने किया, he shifted to Pondicherry to lead a quiet life there so that he can develop to lead a quiet life in Pondicherry so that he can devote his life to meditation and philosophy. Okay. And in 1926, he established, when he saw that he is gaining so many disciples, what he did, he established the Sri Aurobindo Ashram in 1926. So you will find the ashram still there, and if you ever get the chance to go to Pondicherry ever, you can visit it. Sri Aurobindo Ghosh was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature category in 1943 and the Peace category in 1950. He was nominated based on his indispensable contribution to literature, spirituality, and philosophical writings. Okay, so he got a nomination for Nobel Prize Literature maybe 1943 में और Peace category में 1950. He did not get the prize, that is something different, but this shows, the nomination itself shows how influential his philosophy and his writings were in the world, in the whole world. है ना, अगर आप नॉमिनेट हो रहे हो नोबेल प्राइज के लिए, इसका मतलब क्या है कि आपका जो इन्फ्लुएंस है इट इज नॉट ओनली रेस्ट्रिक्टेड टू इंडिया. इंडिया के बाहर भी जितनी कंट्रीज हैं, they were aware of his philosophy, they were aware with his works, and he was much appreciated for his philosophy and also for his beautiful writings. So what are his some of the popular works that he has written are essays on the Gita. He has written a lot of poems and a lot of plays. Then the synthesis of yoga, the human cycle, the ideal of human unity, Savitri. It is a poetic drama, a legend and a symbol on the Veda. Yes, I'm going to skip this portion because I think this is all that you need to know about Sri Aurobindo Ghosh. Okay. So coming to his, आप लोगों को समझ में आया श्री अरबिंदो की लाइफ के बारे में? आई थिंक यू कैन हैव अ पिक्चर नाउ व्हाट काइंड ऑफ पर्सन ही वाज and what to expect from his writings. So definitely जब आप writings पढ़ोगे श्री अरबिंदो की, you will find them very philosophical, but the writings which you have in your syllabus are not philosophical in nature. These writings are political in nature, where he is assessing two, or he is presenting an assessment of two very influential personalities of Indian फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल. वो दोनों पर्सनालिटीज कौन है? बाल गंगाधर तिलक एंड पंकिम चंद्र. ओके, सॉरी आई स्टॉप्ड प्रेजेंटिंग.
वो बंकिम चंद्र चैटर्जी.
यस, पंकिम चंद्र चैटर्जी. आपने जरूर नाम सुना होगा, तिलक का नाम तो डेफिनेटली सुना होगा, एंड पंकिम चंद्र चैटर्जी, ही वाज
वो he wrote a national song, I think.
Okay. You are right. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So this is the book, Early Cultural Writings by Sri Aurobindo, and both the chapters that you have in your syllabus are from the first volume of the book. So you can have a look at the content so you have an idea in your mind what kind of book was it. So he has written about Kalidas, he has written about Mahabharat, then he has written about education. Then part 8 is reviews. Then part 9 is Pumpkin Tilak Dayanand, where you will find him talking about different personalities and presenting his own assessment about their contribution in Indian freedom struggle. So, ऋषि बंकिम चंद्र, ओके, यही है ना आपके सिलेबस में?
Ma'am, can we relate Dayanand to Dayanand Saraswati or anything else?
सॉरी बेटा, क्या कह रहे हो आप?
Ma'am, can we relate to Dayanand with Dayanand Saraswati or anything else?
दयानंद सरस्वती, श्री अरबिंदो.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in his writings, na Tilak, Bankim, and Dayanand. So, ma'am,
Okay, yes, yes, yes. Okay, now I understood what you are asking. Hmm. Yes, Dayanand is, yes, Saraswati Dayanand, है ना, the philosopher, and he was also a spiritual leader, है ना?
yes, ma'am.
सेम दयानंद जिनके बारे में आप कह रहे हो उन्हीं के बारे में लिखा है, सरस्वती दयानंद के बारे में. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे जो आपके दो चैप्टर्स उसमें है, सिलेबस में है, दैट इज ऋषि बंकिम चंद्र एंड बाल गंगाधर तिलक. सो वी विल बिगिन विद ऋषि बंकिम चंद्र टुडे. ओके. There are many who, lamenting the bygone glories of this great and ancient nation, speak as if the rishis of old, the inspired creators of thought and civilization, were a miracle of our heroic age, not to be repeated among degenerate men and in our distressful present. This is an error, and thrice an error. Ours is the eternal land, the eternal people, and the eternal religion, whose strength, greatness, holiness may be overclouded but never, even for a moment, utterly cease. The hero, the rishi, the saint are the natural fruits of our Indian soil, and there has been no age in which they have not been born. Among the rishis of the later age, we have at last realized that we must include the name of the man who gave us the reviving mantra, which is creating a new India, the mantra Vande Mataram. जैसे कि अभी सौम्य प्रकाश ने हमें बताया था कि जो है ऋषि बंकिम चंद्र कौन है, जिन्होंने कौन सा सॉन्ग लिखा था, वंदे मातरम, है ना. वंदे मातरम क्या है, हमारा नेशनल सॉन्ग है ना हमारा, वंदे मातरम.
Yes, national song.
So our national song was written by Rishi Bankim Chandra, and in this chapter you will find that Sri Aurobindo is trying to uh, present before us the contribution that was made by Rishi Bankim Chandra in the national freedom struggle, and also how uh, he was. See, whenever we talk about Bankim Chandra, we always attach this word Rishi before him. It is a title, है ना, and we cannot call anyone Rishi. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप जो है किसी के नाम के भी आगे ऋषि लगा दोगे, है ना. ये उनका नाम नहीं, ये टाइटल है, और ये टाइटल उनको क्यों दिया गया, व्हाट वाज द क्वालिटी इन हिज कैरेक्टर which earned him this title. So he is going to tell us about all these attributes of Bankim Chandra. But before coming to Bankim Chandra, he tells us about India. India is a land, he feels that Indian soil is as such that it has the capacity, it has the ability to produce great men at every time, है ना. इंडिया जो है, जो हमारा कल्चर है, जो हमारा सिविलाइजेशन है, वो कैसा है कि देयर इज समथिंग इन इट, उसके अंदर हमारे कल्चर का कुछ ऐसा पार्ट है या कुछ उसमें ऐसी स्पिरिट है कि जो है आप किसी भी टाइम में देखो तो यू विल फाइंड कि वी ऑलवेज have managed to, Indian soil has always managed to produce heroes. So he is saying कि अगर हम ये सोचते हैं कि जो ऋषिज होते थे, वो पहले किसी टाइम में होते थे। अब जो हमारा जो हमेशा, दिस इज द हैबिट ऑफ ह्यूमन बीइंग्स टू सी फ्यूचर एज समथिंग डीजेनरेट और समथिंग विच इज लेसर दैन द पास्ट, है ना। हमेशा जब पास्ट की बात करते हैं अपनी, तो हम क्या समझते हैं कि जो हमारा पास्ट था वो बहुत अच्छा था, और जो प्रेजेंट है हम उसको हमेशा क्या करते हैं, उसको नेगेट करते हैं कि अब तो क्या हो गया, अब तो कलयुग स्टार्ट हो गया है, और जो है अब तो इतने महान लोग होते नहीं हैं, है ना। तो इसी चीज को जो है श्री अरबिंदो क्या कर रहे हैं, नेगेट कर रहे हैं। वो कहते हैं कि अगर आप ऐसा सोचते हो कि पहले ही ऐसे लोग होते थे इंडिया में जो इतने महान होते थे, देन यू आर रॉन्ग। Why you are wrong? This is thrice an error. वो आपसे क्या कह रहे हैं कि अगर आप ऐसा सोचते हो तो आप जो है thrice you are wrong, एक ही बार गलत नहीं हो आप। कैसे गलत हो आप? 3 बार गलत हो। और कैसे 3 बार गलत हो आप? Because our land, because the nation in which we live, ये जो हमारी कंट्री है, ये जो हमारा सिविलाइजेशन है, उसमें हमारे पास क्या है, एटर्नल लैंड। एटर्नल का मीनिंग क्या होता है? एटर्नल इज समथिंग विच नेवर डाइज, विच नेवर डाइज, और विच हैज अ स्पिरिट विच कैन नेवर बी किल्ड। जो हमारे जो नेशन की स्पिरिट है वो कभी भी नहीं मर सकती है। और इसीलिए जो है श्री अरबिंदो ने क्या कहा कि वी हैव एटर्नल लैंड। जो हमारा लैंड है वो एटर्नल है। It has a never ending or never dying spirit. We have eternal people. We have people who have the spirit which can never be broken. And we have religion which is also eternal, in the sense that the people in India could never be irreligious. जैसे कि आपसे गांधी जी ने भी, जब आपने गांधी जी का चैप्टर पढ़ा था, उसमें भी आपने पढ़ा था, गांधी जी ने कहा था कि we as Indian are people who can never become atheist. There is something in our DNA, there is something in our spirit, there is something in our makeup कि जो है हम कभी भी irreligious नहीं हो सकते। हम कभी भी जो है अपना विश्वास भगवान में हमारा विश्वास भगवान में कभी भी खत्म नहीं हो सकता। हम चाहे जितने सिविलाइज हो जाए, हम चाहे जितने भी मॉडर्नाइज हो जाए, बट our faith in God is something which can never be shaken. So he is saying our land is eternal land. We have eternal people and we have eternal religion whose strength, greatness, holiness may be overclouded, but never even for a moment utterly cease. So there might be some time in history, you will find times when everything becomes so bleak. कभी कभी ऐसा हो जाता है कि जो है ड्यू टू सर्कमस्टांसेस कि we are dissatisfied, we are not at our full potential, but these are just episodes in the history of India. Otherwise, you will find that our history is strewn with heroes, rishis and saints. हर जंक्चर पे आपको हिस्ट्री के क्या मिलेंगे? हीरोज देखने के लिए मिलेंगे, ऋषिज देखने को मिलेंगे और सेंट्स देखने को मिलेंगे। They are the natural fruits of our Indian soil. There has been no age in which they have not been born. Now, when he starts thinking about rishis, the name that pops up in his mind or pops up in his mind is the name of बंकिम चंद्र, जिन्होंने हमें क्या दिया? एक मंत्र के रूप में जो है ये सॉन्ग दिया, या ये नारा दिया, ये स्लोगन दिया। वो स्लोगन क्या था? वंदे मातरम। The rishi is different from the saint. Now he goes on to tell us what is the difference between a rishi and saint. उन्होंने 3 चीजें हमें बताई कि जो हमारे लैंड पे हमेशा हीरोज होते हैं, हमारे लैंड पे हमेशा ऋषि होते हैं, हमारे लैंड में हमेशा सेंट होते हैं। So we generally consider rishis and saints to be same. कि दोनों जो है क्या है, दोनों वर्ड सेम है. But according to Sri Aurobindo, these two terms are not same. His life may not have been distinguished by superior holiness, nor his character by an ideal beauty. He is not great by what he was himself, but by what he has expressed. A great and vivifying message has to be given to a nation or to humanity, and God has chosen this mouth on which to shape the words of the message. A momentous vision had to be revealed, and it is His eyes which the Almighty first unseals. So you will find that his prose is very poetic. है ना. अगर आप जो है औरोबिंदो का जो है अगर आप ये ऐसे पढ़ो तो आपको ऐसा नहीं लगेगा कि आप ऐसे पढ़ रहे हो. आपको क्या लगेगा कि आप कोई पोएम पढ़ रहे हो. Words are so beautifully chosen, and you can find rhythm in the way the sentences are framed. The message which he has received, the vision which has been vouchsafed to him, he declares to the world with all the strength that is in him, and in one supreme moment of inspiration expresses it in words which have merely to be uttered to stir men's inmost natures, clarify their minds, seize their hearts, and impel them to things which would have been impossible to them in their ordinary moments. Those words are the mantra which he was born to reveal, and of that mantra he is the seer. Okay, so he is saying that a rishi is a seer. He is not a saint. वो क्या है, ऋषि को उन्होंने किससे कंपेयर किया है, एक सीयर से. एंड हु इज अ सीयर? अ सीयर इज अ मैसेंजर ऑफ गॉड. गॉड कैन नॉट डायरेक्टली कम्युनिकेट हिज मैसेज टू पीपल. कभी आपने ऐसा नहीं देखा होगा अपनी लाइफ में कि आपके सामने जो है खुद जो है भगवान आके खड़े हों और आपको जो है कुछ मैसेज दे कि इसको, इस काम को ऐसे नहीं ऐसे करो, है ना. सो गॉड, nobody has seen God, but he has a way of transferring his message to people. And what is this way? He chooses certain subjects, he chooses certain people who can convey the message that he wants to get delivered and to the people. ठीक है. So who, जो ये chosen subjects हैं उनको हम क्या कहते हैं, seers. और ऐसे ही एक chosen subject थे for God, Bankim Chandra. ठीक है. And what was the message that God wanted to reveal through him? उनके थ्रू जो है गॉड हमें क्या मैसेज पहुंचाना चाहते थे? द मैसेज टू फाइट विद आवर ऑल माइट अगेंस्ट ब्रिटिश. जो एक मंत्र था वंदे मातरम, वो जो है, और वो वंदे मातरम जो मंत्र था उसका क्या पर्पस था? ये जो है सारे लोग जो है इंडिया के वो इनविग्रेट हो जाए, एनर्जाइज हो जाए और मिल के जो है क्या कोशिश करें कि वो ब्रिटिशर्स को इंडिया से बाहर निकाल सकें. ठीक है. सो ही इज सेइंग दैट ही वाज नॉट अ परफेक्ट पर्सन. ऋषि बंकिम चंद्र, he was not a man who did not have any kind of weakness or any kind of disability, है ना. ऐसा कोई नहीं होता कि वो परफेक्ट हो. तो बंकिम चंद्र के साथ भी क्या था कि वो जो है ना तो उनका कैरेक्टर परफेक्ट था, नॉट ही वाज वेरी होली. जैसे हम सेंट्स को जो है, जो हमारे जो सेंट्स होते हैं उनको हम क्या मानते हैं कि वो बहुत होली. होली मतलब, होली का क्या मतलब होता है?
पवित्र.
पवित्र, है ना. So he is saying that Rishi Bankim Chandra, he was a man of the world. He lived among people and he was he had his character was like an ordinary person. Okay, but what was special about him? That he was chosen by God to deliver a special message to his fellow countrymen. And what was that message? The message of Vande Mataram, which he so beautifully expressed through his song. What is it for which we worship the name of Bankim today? What was his message to us, or what the vision which he saw and has helped us to see? He was a great poet, a master of our need, and was inspired to meet it. He gave us a means by which the soul of Bengal could express itself to itself. As he had divined the linguistic need of his country's future, so he divined also its political need. He, first of our great publicists, understood the hollowness and inutility of the method of political agitation which prevailed in his time and exposed it with merciless satire in his Lok Rahasya and Kamal Kantar Daftar. But he was not satisfied merely with destructive criticism. He had a positive vision of what was needed for the salvation of the country. Okay, so he's telling us, um, why do we remember Bumpkin today? Hmm? Or why is he so important for our nation? Hmm? Two reasons. He was a great poet. The message which was delivered to him by God, hmm, he presented to the people in such a beautiful poem with the use of such beautiful words. है ना? So he was a very good poet. And secondly, he was also a very good political leader. And why was he good political leader? Because he knew exactly what the people in India at that particular moment needed. उनको जो है बिल्कुल पता था कि जो है जो हमारी कंडीशन है इस समय, जो हमारी कंडीशन थी उस समय लोगों को क्या करना चाहिए और क्या करना चाहिए. He understood the hollowness and inutility of the method of political agitation which prevailed in his time. Now here, Sri Aurobindo is talking about the political agitation that was led by Congress at that time. अगर आप कांग्रेस की हिस्ट्री पढ़ो तो जो स्टार्टिंग में जब कांग्रेस फॉर्म हुई थी, दे एक्टेड लाइक पेटिशनर्स, है ना. जो उनका एक पॉलिटिकल मेथड था वो क्या था कि दे वुड राइट, इट वाज वेरी ब्यूरोक्रेटिक काइंड ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, जहाँ पे कि जो है लोग क्या करते थे ऑफिसेज में बैठ के कि जो है दे वुड राइट पेटिशंस. क्या होती है? एप्लीकेशंस कि वी डू नॉट वांट ब्रिटिशर्स टू डू दिस दिस दिस, या फिर ये लॉ ठीक नहीं है. सो दे वर लाइक पेपर पुशर्स. उन्होंने लिख दिया, एक मेमोरेंडम बना दिया कि हमें ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट से ये शिकायत है और हम चाहते हैं कि इसकी रेमेडी ऐसे हो, एंड देन इट वुड बी सेंट टू द ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट, and definitely they would not do anything with that petition. So Bankim Chandra, he knew that this kind of tactics that was being used by political leaders in the current scenario was useless. और इसी का जो है उन्होंने क्या किया, he satirized these political tactics in his plays Lok Rahasya and Kamal Kantar Daftar. So this is what he did not approve of. ठीक है, but what was his own vision of politics? ये तो आपने पढ़ लिया कि जो उनको क्या पसंद नहीं था. अब उनका अपना क्या विजन था, that would be that Sri Aurobindo would tell us now. He saw that the force from above must be met by a mightier reacting force from below, the strength of repression by an insurgent national strength. He bade us leave the canine method of agitation for the leonine. The mother of his vision held trenchant steel in her twice 70 million hands, and not the bowl of the mendicant. It was the gospel of fearless strength and force which he preached under a veil and in images in Anand Math and Devi Chaudharani. Okay, in the next class, I will show you the life and works of Bankim Chandra. Then you will be able to connect to whatever is written by Aurobindo. What is he saying? That he wanted India to be assertive. We are not beggars कि हमें बोल लेके जो है ब्रिटिशर्स के सामने जाना है, and we would ask them for कि हमें क्या दें, फ्रीडम दें. We are very strong people. We have a huge population, and if we rise against British, then definitely there was no one who could stop us from winning our freedom, from winning our independence. This was the vision that um, ऋषि बंकिम चंद्र हैड फॉर इंडियन पॉलिटिकल सिनेरियो. ठीक है, वो किस चीज से बहुत नाराज थे कि जो कांग्रेस थी वो बहुत सबसर्विएंट थी, उसकी अपनी एक इंडिपेंडेंट वॉइस नहीं थी, उसकी जो है डोमिनेटिंग वॉइस नहीं थी. वो क्या चाहते थे कि इंडिया के लोग जो है वो भीख में अपनी इंडिपेंडेंस ना मांगे. इंडिपेंडेंस इज आवर राइट, and we have to fight for our rights. So it was the vision of Bankim Chandra for India, for the people of India to be assertive, to be strong, and to fight against the foreign government. सो द मदर इंडिया, जो वंदे मातरम का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है, उसमें जो मदर इंडिया का कॉन्सेप्ट है वो क्या है, दैट मदर इंडिया शी इज वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग. अगर आप मदर इंडिया का उस टाइम का अगर कोई फोटो देखो कि हाउ मदर इंडिया वाज डिपिक्टेड, सो शी वाज डिपिक्टेड लाइक दुर्गा, है ना, समवन who is very strong and can fight back the demons and kill them. And he had an inspired, unerring vision of the moral strength which must be at the back of the outer force. He perceived that the first element of the moral strength must be tyag, complete self sacrifice for the country, and complete self devotion to the work of liberation. His workers and fighters for the motherland are political Bairagis, who have no other thought than their duty to her and have put all else behind them as less dear and less precious, and only to be resumed when their work for her is done. Whoever loves self or wife or child or goods more than his country is a poor and imperfect patriot. Not by him shall the great work to be accomplished. Okay, so how independence could be won? कैसे जो है हम इंडिपेंडेंस हमें मिल सकती है, इफ वी टर्न पॉलिटिकल बैरागीज. बैरागी जो है आप लोगों को टर्म पता होगा, बैरागी हम किसको कहते हैं, द पर्सन हु हैव नो अटैचमेंट टू फिजिकल और मटेरियल पोजीशंस, है ना, जो दुनिया में सब कुछ छोड़ चुके होते हैं. सो इफ you want to have, if you want to win freedom, you will have to sacrifice everything that is held dear by ordinary people, है ना. हम अपनी फैमिली को इम्पोर्टेंस देते हैं, हम अपनी प्रॉपर्टी को इम्पोर्टेंस देते हैं, हम अपने कंफर्ट्स को इम्पोर्टेंस देते हैं, लेकिन अगर हम ऐसे ही इन सब चीज़ों को इम्पोर्टेंस देते रहे, सो वी विल नेवर हैव दिस फाइटिंग स्पिरिट. वी वुड ऑलवेज बी स्केयर्ड, वी वुड ऑलवेज बी फ्राइटेंड. व्हाट विल हैपन इफ वी लूज देम? अगर आपके बहुत सारे अटैचमेंट्स हैं तो आप कभी भी खुल के किसी से नहीं लड़ पाओगे. क्यों नहीं लड़ पाओगे? क्योंकि आपके अंदर हमेशा ये फियर रहेगा कि जो है, व्हाट इफ आई लूज माय वाइफ, और व्हाट इफ आई लूज माय चाइल्ड और माय प्रॉपर्टी, है ना. तो इफ यू हैव अटैचमेंट्स दैट मेक्स यू वीक, you are not able to fight with your full potential. This is what बंकिम चंद्र थॉट. ये अगर हमें जो है इंडिपेंडेंस चाहिए तो हमें क्या बनना पड़ेगा, हमें बैरागी बनना पड़ेगा. Again, he perceived that the second element of the moral strength needed must be self-discipline and organization. This truth he expressed in the elaborate training of Devi Chaudhrani for her work, in the strict rules of the association of the Anand Math, and in the pictures of perfect organization which those books contain. Lastly, okay, so what was this? The first element of moral strength kya tha? Tyag. That you have to leave everything aside if you want to win political freedom. Then the second element जो आपका moral strength का है, according to ऋषि बंकिम चंद्र, वो क्या है? That you should have self-discipline and organization. If you don't have discipline in your life, then you are not going to achieve anything इन योर लाइफ. अगर आपके जो है लाइफ में डिसिप्लिन नहीं है, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन नहीं है, तो आप अपनी लाइफ में कुछ भी अच्छा कभी भी नहीं कर पाओगे. ठीक है. एंड the third aspect of moral strength according to Rishi Bankim Chandra is the moral strength must be infused with religious feeling into patriotic work. आपको अपने, जिसको हम कहते हैं ना कि कर्म ही पूजा है, you have to work as if you are worshipping. You should have that much dedication, you should have that much faith in what you are doing. The religion of patriotism, this is the master idea of Bumpkin's writing. ठीक है. इसीलिए जब हम कहते हैं, हम अपने जो है नेशन को हमने कैसे पर्सोनिफाई किया है, हमारी भारत माता है ना. Here you are infusing patriotism with religion. हम और उनको कैसे पोर्ट्रे करते हैं कि वो दुर्गा माँ की जो है उसमें पोर्ट्रे करते हैं, और हम कैसे जो है अपने कंट्री को देखते हैं एज अ डेटी, एज अ मदर हु इज ऑल पावरफुल. ठीक है. और इसीलिए जो है वी हैव दिस from the beginning we have this concept in India that for us our nation is not simply a nation, it is associated, it is blended with our idea of religion. Okay, so in Dharam Tattva, the idea and religion of patriotism. Okay. The mother had revealed herself. Once that vision has come to a people, there can be no rest, no peace, no farther slumber till the temple has been made ready, the image installed, and the sacrifice offered. A great nation which has had that vision can never again bend its neck in subjection to the yoke of a conqueror. There is a page missing here. अच्छा, okay. That's what I thought. ओहो, तो हमने एक और पेज स्किप कर दिया ना. नेवर माइंड. ये जो आपका ये जो पेज जो है, दैट इज व्हाट आई वाज थिंकिंग कि चैप्टर इतना छोटा कैसे हो गया. ओके, आई विल डिस्कस दिस इन द क्लास टुमारो, जब हम पूरा समराइज करेंगे. बेसिकली जो हमारा ये पोर्शन छूटा है एक पेज, दैट इज इन दिस portion, Sri Aurobindo talks about Bankim Chandra as a poet, how beautiful works or poems that he has written, and what was his speciality while he wrote his poems. ठीक है. तो ये हम portion I will tell you tomorrow while we will summarize this. In Dharm Tattva, the idea in Karam, in Krishna Charit, the picture of a perfect and many-sided karma yoga is sketched, the crown of which shall be work for one's country and one's kind. In Anand Mat, this idea is the keystone of the whole book and receives its perfect lyrical expression in the great song which has become the national anthem of United India. This is the second great service of Bankim to his country, that he pointed out to it the way of salvation and gave it the religion of patriotism. Of the new spirit which is leading the nation to resurgence and independence, he is the inspirer and political guru. So his political vision you will find in all the books that he has written. You will find the idea of discipline and organization. You will also find how religion and patriotism can be intermingled with each other. Then you will also find how we have to sacrifice everything in life if we want to achieve something great. तो आप जितनी भी बुक्स जो है ऋषि बंकिम चंद्र की पढ़ोगे, आपको जो उनकी फिलॉसफी के जो बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं वो सारे जो है आपको उन वर्क्स में मिलेंगे। एंड द सॉन्ग, जो उन्होंने वंदे मातरम सॉन्ग लिखा वो उनकी कौन सी बुक से लिया गया था? आनंद मठ से। एंड दिस इज द बुक विच इनकैप्सुलेट्स द होल फिलॉसफी ऑफ ऋषि बंकिम चंद्र। अगर आप आनंद मठ पढ़ लेते हो तो आपको जो है पूरी जो उनकी फिलॉसफी है, द पॉलिटिकल फिलॉसफी, द रिलीजियस फिलॉसफी, you will get it in a nutshell through this book. So what according to Sri Aurobindo are the two great contributions of Bankim Chandra? Pehla, he gave us the mantra Vande Mataram. He was the seer, he was the um, he was the seer, he was the mediator through which God conveyed to us an idea that is Vande Mataram. Okay, this was his first contribution, and then the second contribution was his giving the political struggle, the freedom struggle movement a tinge of religion. जो उन्होंने जो intermingling करी religion और patriotism ki, that was something, according to Sri Aurobindo, a very novel idea which invigorated the people to participate in the national movement. इसीलिए जो है उन्होंने क्या बोला है बंकिम चंद्र को, श्री अरबिंदो ने, he is called a political guru by him. Now, the third and supreme service of Bumkin to his nation was that he gave us the vision of our mother. The bare intellectual idea of the motherland is not in itself a great driving force. The mere recognition of the desirability of freedom is not an inspiring motive. There are few Indians at present, whether loyalist, moderate, or nationalist in their political views, who do not recognize that the country has claims on them or that freedom in the abstract is a desirable thing. Okay, I'll stop here because I wanted to talk to you about something. We will continue with the chapter tomorrow.